How to be more productive when you're building a software. Nowadays, we want to build a software as soon as possible because your client cannot wait for it, and you also want to improve the quality of your software. Now, you don't have to learn a new language just to make your software building process much better. But then, if you can use these 5 tools, which we'll talk about in this video. So if you can use those 5 tools, again, there are a lot of tools available, but then these 5 tools are what you say, the minimum thing we should you be using to build a project. I'm not saying we should be using everything, but then if you can use all those 5 tools, it will improve your productivity. Now, depending upon different languages you choose, depending upon different technology you're working on, this might change. But that's fine. If you can understand this 5, you're good to go. Now let's start with the first one. So the first one is a good editor, right? I'm talking about it more generic now. Let's go about specific. So you need a good editor. Now it can be an editor, it can be an IDE. Now people who are working on a web designing world, so let's say if you want to design something, Notepad is not a good tool, Of course, Notepad is a basic thing for all of us, but then if you can use some specific tools like Atom, or you can use, we have one more which is Sublime. So we can use Atom, we can use Sublime. There are other tools are available as well. So personally, I use Sublime, I like it. You can also use Atom, that's one of the newest thing in the market, and most of the designers, they prefer Atom to work on. And on the other hand, if you're a backend developer, let's say if you are working on .NET, if you're working on Java, so for .NET we have the obvious thing, which is Visual Studio, and for Java we have so many tools available, right? We have NetBeans, we have Eclipse, but you have to choose a proper IDE. So let's say if you love NetBeans, you go with it, but then try to use IDEs when you're working on a project. Making a project on, let's say, Notepad or Atom, writing a Java code on Atom will not be that efficient. But there are people who love it. I'm not against any I'm not against any IDE here. It's just that I prefer personally, or most of my colleagues prefer IDEs like Eclipse, or if you want to if you can pay for it, IntelliJ is one of the best one. And for different technology like PHP, for Ruby, we have different editors available. So make sure that you use a proper IDE to improve your productivity. The next thing is, we have this thing which is you can share your code. Earlier days, people used to share their code. Let's say if there are 5 people working on the same project, we used to share data with the help of mail. So in fact, when I was working on my first project, we have used mail. So one person used to send a code through a mail. That's not an efficient way, right? So what we decided, okay, let's move ahead and let's use Dropbox. So we were using Dropbox as a code sharing platform. But then better than that, we have a new thing called as, so we have a thing called as Git. So people used to use SVN before, and now they are shifting to Git. Now in Git, specifically we use GitHub or Bitbucket. So I would recommend, so if you're a developer, to explore on GitHub as well. So if you're a developer and if you are not used GitHub now, it's time to learn Git, or maybe GitHub or Bitbucket or GitLabs, it's your choice. Yeah, but try to learn all those things. If you are going for the interviews or if you're joining a company, they might ask you questions on, do you know Git, or have you worked on Git before? Because most of the companies, they are using Git, maybe a private repository or public one, but they are using Git, maybe for different projects. So make sure that you learn about Git. Next is Linux. Okay, I know Linux is the obvious thing, right? But think about this. How many of you as a developer really work on Linux? I mean, as a Mac user, I don't have a choice, right? Because we get terminal. So I enjoy that. Otherwise, I prefer Linux. So after Mac, I always prefer Linux because in Linux, you get so many tools to work with. And most of this open source software which you will be getting, they normally work with shell programming. So if you want to do some configuration, they require shell. So that you also explore on shell. So maybe if you join a company, if you're working on a deployment server, you might have to work on shell programming as well. So learning shell now will make more sense to you. So also learn about shell, how to use the command prompt of Windows as well. And then in Windows as well, we have PowerShell. So if you know shell programming, it will be easier for you to learn PowerShell if you want to switch to a Windows platform. Yeah, so that's the third one. The fourth one we have is, okay, so now think about this before taking a name. Now let's say if you want to talk to your peers, let's say if you have 4 people working on the same project, and normally we do work in a team, right? There are people who prefer working alone, but then if you really want to work on a big project, of course you need a team to work on. So someone will be specialist in designing, someone will be specialist in the backend development, someone will be specialist in the in deployment stuff. Yeah. So we have a team here. Now how will you communicate with a team? Now the best way to communicate with a team is through a call or people you can send an email, yeah, or you can use WhatsApp. Nowadays I've seen people, they work in a corporate environment, but still they use WhatsApp to talk to other people. They create a group. So let's say if they are working on a project, they will get a project group and they will discuss. But don't you think it will be uncomfortable for a company to allow their people to work on WhatsApp? They're sharing their data using WhatsApp. Not a good platform, right? The second problem is maybe one of the team members don't use WhatsApp, right? Let's say one team member says, okay, let's use Facebook Messenger. So just to just to solve that problem, we have a special messenger app, or not exactly app, but then a service which is called as Slack. So you can prefer that one as well if you're working on a team. It provides lots of features. Initially, you will not find it easy to work on because you are happy with WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or email. But then later on, once you start working on it, if you're working in a team, and if you really want to improve your productivity, this is the best thing to work with. Okay, even I've started working on it, but then I'm not that efficient in that. But yes, it's helpful. So the reviews I have read, I have talked to my friends, even they are using Slack in their project. So it's an awesome thing. So you can explore on Slack as well. So that's the fourth one. Now let's go for the fifth one, which is, okay, so in the earlier days when you used to work on a project, we used to deploy, so we used to build a project and the entire project used to deploy on a server. But nowadays, thanks to agile concept, we have a thing called as CI, which is continuous integration. So what happens is every time you make a change, yeah. So every time, let's say if you're working on a team, of course. So let's say you have 4 people again. If one person is working on a project, working on some module, and the same module you want to use by someone else. So if you are working on it, don't wait for maybe 1 month or 2 months, then we will deploy the application. Because if you, after 4 months or 5 months, if you're combining the entire project, if something goes wrong, you don't know what went wrong and who has done the mistake, right? So it's difficult to find the bugs in that. So what if you can just build the project and push it on the server, right? So it will be continuous integration. So daily, maybe one or twice a day, you will deploy the project on the server. You don't have to manually create a jar file or a WAR file and deploy it on server. What you can do is, if you're using an IDE, just right click and push. So you will push the data on the server. The server will be responsible for deployment, the continuous deployment. Right? So we have CI and CD. CI is integration, pushing it on the server, and CD is your delivery or deployment. Now this can be done with one of the tool, which is Jenkins. So I would recommend you to learn Jenkins as well. That will be your fifth tool. Again, not just Jenkins, there are other tools available as well. In general, you can say CI. So at least if you want to be a good developer, these are the 5 tools available. Again, there are other tools as well, but then I just wanted to go for top 5. But as a bonus one, let me add some more. You should be good with, so if you want to add more, maybe next 2, I would say also explore on browser apps. Example, let's say if you're designing an application, if you want to, if you're designing a website and if you want to know how it is working, if you want to debug it, then there are some browser tools available. Example, we have Firebug. Then we have for REST client, if you want to build a REST service and if you want to test it, then you require Postman. So again, this video is not about how those things works, but if you can at least know the names, you can learn it, right? So that's the idea behind this video, not to give you how all this thing works, but then what are things you should know if you want to improve your productivity. So yes, you need to learn about Jenkins, so do that thing done. So next to is Firebug and REST client, which is Postman. And then one more. If you are working on Android development, so of course we have an option which is Play Store. If you are working on iOS, we have App Store. What about if you are working on websites? So normally we go for private hostings, right? So instead of going for private hosting or shared hosting, think about cloud services. So start exploring on cloud service as well. Doesn't matter which language you use, PHP, Ruby, Java, .NET. We do have cloud service which supports all these platforms. So once you know one cloud service, it is easier to learn other one as well. Maybe let's say you're learning AWS now, and the company you are working on, they are using OpenShift. That's fine if you know how AWS works. So you can learn about OpenShift. Yeah. If you know about Google App Engine, your company uses AWS, you can actually learn both. And once you know one thing, you can switch to other one very easily. So those are the the bonus tools you can learn. But top 5, let me repeat. The first one is a good editor. It can be IDE or it can be a normal editor. So let's say Atom or Sublime. Or if you want to go for IDE, depending upon which language you work on, go for the best IDE available. Okay, when I say best, nothing is best. It all depends upon the requirement. but in general, I can say Eclipse. You go for Eclipse or IntelliJ. For Java, for .NET, we have Visual Studio. Yeah, and the second tool is start working on Git, maybe GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket. Next one is shell programming or Unix, how to use Linux environment. That's very important because we are born with Windows. Most of us don't know how to work on Linux. So try to learn Linux as well. And then fourth one is the messenger or the message service, which is Slack. And then fifth one is CI or CD, which is Jenkins. So those are the 5 tools you should start working on. In fact, I will be putting the links in the description area to where to find all those things. So yeah, that's it from this video. I hope you enjoyed it. These are the 5 top tools used by different developers. Thank you so much for watching, and do click on the like button if you enjoyed the video.